Okay, hello everybody, my name is Nate Aune. I live here in Boston, and Diane asked me to give a short lightning talk about something that's only about 3 days old. I've just been working on it. It's basically a small widget to help you deploy open source apps up to OpenShift. And the longer story is that my company AppSimilar is building an app store for open source web apps. So we're experimenting with OpenShift as a possible destination for these apps to be deployed. So I'm going to talk a little bit about kind of the reasoning behind this, and then I'll give you a short demo. So as we know, there are hundreds of open source apps out there. A lot of them that you have heard of, like these ones, but there are literally hundreds or thousands that you haven't heard of. And if you do a search for WordPress, for example, or if you look on Google, there's like 30 million searches for WordPress every month, 11 million for Joomla, 6 million for Drupal. And just to put that into comparison, Microsoft Office had 16 million searches. So WordPress is getting like twice as many searches on Google than Microsoft Office. And SharePoint is getting less than Joomla and WordPress. So this is just showing you there's a big demand for open source software out there. But these are like household names. Like we've all heard of WordPress and Drupal, but there's a whole bunch of other open source projects that you've never heard of. There are 2.8 million repositories on GitHub. Lots and lots of open source software that's really awesome that just people don't know about. It's a problem of discoverability. So where do people find these applications today? Well, there's services like Bitnami that lets you deploy up to Amazon, or you can download as a VMware image. Similarly, Jumpbox does something similar. And even Amazon now has their marketplace. So what's the problem with these services, Bitnami, Jumpbox, and Amazon? They're all deploying to IaaS, right? You're getting this virtual machine that you now have to maintain. You have to apply security updates. You have to do backups, and basically have a server that you have to babysit now. So I thought, well, why use virtual machines when we have paths? So looking at what OpenShift has provided, they have a really great, instant apps directory. One click and you get these apps running. But right now there's only a handful of them. It's not a really big library. So if you go over to OpenShift, you can see, well, there's like 95 public repos in the GitHub OpenShift repository, some of which are sample projects that you can get started with really quickly. So that's great. And if you go to GitHub and you search for OpenShift-Quick Start, there are 161 different repositories. The problem is that unless you're somewhat technical, like going to GitHub is scary, right? Like, you're not necessarily, if you just want to try out an open source app, you're not going to know to go to GitHub to find these open source apps. So I'm going to show you what we came up with, which is a little tool called, well, it doesn't actually have a name yet. But if you go to OpenShift deploy-codeenvy.rhccloud.com,
it's sort of code envy without the double E.
Code envy?
Yeah, I tried to make an alias for it, launch.appsimilar.com, but I'm having some issues with the launching. Okay, so the idea is you just pick your weapon. There's about a couple dozen different open source tools here. Someone want to see something deployed?
Let's do
Code
it.
Igniter.
Yeah, Code Igniter. Code Igniter. Okay, I haven't tested that one, so.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
yes.
It works.
What?
That's mine. I know it works.
You know that one works? All right. So notice the only thing we're asking the user here for is their email address, and that's simply to send them an email with the URL of their deployed app. So like the whole point is like make this stupid simple. Like I just choose a drop-down menu, what open source app I want to deploy, I press the button, and we start working some magic. And literally like in 2 minutes, I'll get a URL here that I can now click on and go try out that app, and it's deployed on OpenShift. And then I'll get an email in case this window closes because I get tired of waiting. I can go check my email and see.
Are you using the REST API?
Yeah, we're using the Python-interface, Python library. We're talking directly to the OpenShift API. So very, very little code actually to build this. The backend is Django, and we're using some Ajax stuff to do the real-time update of this. So yeah, this will take a few minutes. I can show you the backend just so you can see how simple it is. So if I go into projects, to add a new one, I literally just click on add projects and I give it the name, the GitHub URL. This is not really named properly. This is like, PHP, and then, my MySQL Database. I save it, and then it becomes available in that dropdown. So it's literally, like to add a new one of these things is trivial. As long as there's an OpenShift repo that exists that has the project already configured.
So where's all the Django code behind this?
Where does it live? It's on GitHub. Any questions while we're waiting for this thing to finish?
Where is it on GitHub?
I can. It's kind of a hard URL to remember, but I can send it out to people.
Are you setting up an OpenShift account for the user?
No. So right now, this is all being deployed under our OpenShift account. If it were a developer, they would probably want to have it deployed to their OpenShift account. But the target audience here is like a non-technical person who doesn't want to be bothered with going to OpenShift and having it set up an account. That would be another feature we could add. Like, remember, this is like 3 days old. So
No. Sure, cool.
But we could add a feature that would let you put in your OpenShift
Credentials?
username and password or API key or whatever, and then ideally we can create an OpenShift account for you,
Right.
and then start deploying the apps, and then you would just activate your account. So if anyone from Red Hat wants to talk to me about this, I'd love to hear if we can make that possible.
Click on it, let's see if it works.
Oh, okay, it's done. Welcome to Coding Diner. There it is. Kind of an ugly URL, but that's pretty easy to fix. Not the most exciting landing page, but it worked.
There you go. Well done. Thank you.